Okay, so this is gonna be I built a full stack web application, and you can too. Just gonna really quickly showcase my app that I built, my web application. I used AI to build a web application from scratch. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean that we have a hosted web application running on its own domain that has Firebase authentication, so you can sign in with Google. And it has a MySQL database, so you can add trips that you want to add. This is a simple trip planning application. So here I'm going to take a trip from the 1st to the 10th. I'm going to create this trip. It exists here now in my database. I can go to my calendar view, and here I can see my trip on the calendar view. I could break it down by week, or I could break it down by day. And all of this is in the database. And just so you fully understand the function of that, we have this trip planner web application hosted, right? So now you can sign in from any device. Here's my phone here in this corner. I can sign in with Google on my phone, pick the same account that I signed in with here. And now when I click my trips, I can see the same trip. And the website is responsive. I can sign out and sign in with a different account. And I can see my trips here. These are the same as these. I can delete one here, and if I were to refresh here, that one goes away. Okay? So this is the whole concept, is that you have this web application where your users can sign in and out using their Google account. This is called Firebase authentication. And Firebase is a Google product that you can use, and that allows your users to sign in with multiple different platforms. For example, they can sign in with their Facebook, they can sign in with their Apple, they can sign in with their Microsoft, with their Git, with their phone number. So this gives users lots of options to sign in. Currently, I'm just using the sign in with Google option, but you can add more features to that. So Firebase just drops into your web application, and you can use it as your authenticator. So how did I do this? For the front end, I used bolt.new. This develops using Claude Sonnet 3.5, and you can build full stack web apps. The only issue is when you're building on Bolt, you're not going to be able to do any database testing because you can't host a database here. You can host a database on one server and then connect it to your Bolt. But the basic concept that I use Bolt to build my front end, right? So all of this that you see here, all of these visual things were built by Bolt. Okay, this is my user profile. You can see when I sign in with one user, I see this, and when I sign in with another user, I see this, right? So each user is authenticated by Firebase, and Firebase sends back these variables. So it sends back your account icon, your display name, your email, your phone number if you have it included. Same deal here, my email, my phone number transfers over from my Firebase. Okay, so I use Bolt, and I used React as my front end framework. So all of this is built in React, and Bolt takes care of all of that. You don't even need to know what that means, but I'm going to share with you a couple of prompts that I used to create this, and just kind of give you a quick overview of how I did this, right? So start with planning. So for example, I just sat down and took some notes. I wanted to build a trip planner application that had a landing page a trips page, a places page, a user profile page, and a calendar page. And then I wanted to use MySQL for the database. I wanted to use Express and Node.js for the backend, for the front end React, and for authentication Firebase. Here are my tables. So I know what data I want to store, right? So when I'm creating my database, this is the tables that I want to have. So I need a trips table, a places table, and a user table. The user table, the data comes from Firebase and gets stored in your database as well. The places table is a child table for the trips table, because when you build trips, you add places to those trips, okay? So I can have a trip, for example, I'm going to California, and places that I can add in California: San Francisco, Yosemite, Sequoia, for example, right? So that's how this database setup would work. And then here you can see I built my database using VS Code Cline, which is formerly known as Cloud Dev. You can build your database with terminal commands once you get MySQL installed. And I really recommend that you don't get scared of these terminal commands, because this will help you in your journey to understand and learn what you're doing with these terminal commands. So I'll show you a little bit about that shortly. For the backend, we built it with Express and Node.js. And this has the API connection between the front end and the database, right? So that's the back end. We test the database before we build anything. And again, I'm using VS Code with Cline here. So that's how I built the back end. The front end I built with bolt.new, and I also had Firebase authentication while I was working in bolt.new. I took care of the Firebase authentication as well. So here you can kind of see, first you have to plan out your project, then you can design your project. You design the front end, you design the back end, and you test, right? And then you can deploy. So here we are, we're deployed to questflow.net. Questflow.net is a domain name that I purchased from Hostinger. So here you can buy domains, right? So you pick a domain, whatever you come up with, and then you purchase that domain here, the Hostinger, and then I am hosting this on my Linode server, right? So Linode is a cheap way to get a server running. I think I haven't even paid any money yet to this. They give you like 200 free credits or something like that, and you can get plans as cheap as $5 a month to get your project hosted, right? So here is your host that connects to your domain, and then you're able to see your project, okay? Let's take a look here. So bolt.new, this is what I used for the front end. For the back end, I used Visual Studio Code. So this here that I'm logging into, this is my Linode server, but this is what it looks like inside, right? So here is this entire project. All of this was built with AI. I didn't build any of this. I just connected two things together. Here is Cline, otherwise aka previously known as Cloud Dev. What's nice with this is now they added functionality so that you can use many different models. For this entire project, I used GPT-4o Mini, specifically because it's extremely cheap. It's 15 cents for 1 million tokens, whereas if you were using, for example, 3.5 Sonnet, you would be paying $3 for 1 million tokens. And you could even go to O1 Mini, $3 for 1 million tokens, and O1 Preview will charge you $15 for 1 million tokens. So if you use this, you're going to be burning through money as you use the AI to help you out. You have a bunch of different sources here for your API providers. You can use OpenAI or Anthropic, but I really recommend OpenRouter. OpenRouter is nice because it gives you access to an incredible amount of models. an incredible amount of models. You just update your credits. You keep adding some credits here, and then you can have access to take a look at how many models OpenRouter has. It's insane. Yeah, that's a lot of models. So, like I said, for this one, we used 4.0 mini because it costs 15 cents per million tokens. So you can get a lot done with not too much money. If this video gave you any value, make sure to leave me a like, comment below if you have any questions or have any suggestions, and don't forget to subscribe.
Any more questions? Just let me know.
Yeah, I'd actually like to run an idea by you.
Sure, I'm all ears. What's your idea?
All right, this is my idea. I'm making a video for my viewers, and this video is going to be me creating a full stack web application with AI. My game plan is to first create a database using MySQL. Then I'm going to create a backend using Express and Node.js. And then at the end, I'm going to create a front end using a new tool called bolt.new, which is an AI programming application.
That sounds like an exciting project. With MySQL, Express, and Node.js forming a solid backend, and bolt.new helping out on the front end, you'll be showcasing a cutting-edge tech stack. Your viewers are in for a treat as they watch AI streamline the web app development process. Need any tips or guidance along the way?
That's perfect. Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be reaching out for some tips. If you want, go ahead and say hello to my viewers. You're live right now.
Hello everyone, it's great to be a part of this exciting journey. I'm here to help out with any tech questions or challenges along the way. Let's dive into this full stack web app adventure together.
Here we go. So first things first, we're going to want to set up our database. So this is just kind of us building the prompt that we're going to dump into Klein. So database name, trip manager. We have our user, which is root, and our password, which is your password. And this is set up when you install MySQL on your server. You're going to set up your username and password, and this is ours. So next we're going to have trips, places, users. Okay, and inside of the trips table, we're going to have trip ID, UID. We're going to have date start, date end, picture, note. Let's do a name field here, and we'll put the UID at the bottom. UID is going to be our user ID that comes in from Firebase. So let's take a look here. Firebase sends back these variables. Okay, so we have our users table. We're going to have UID. We're going to have display name. We're going to have email, photo, URL, and phone number. And I just got this from ChatGPT. I just asked it, what variables does Firebase send back? Then we're going to have our places table. So once again, we're going to go back to our plan here. Places table is going to have place ID, trip ID, name, link, address, picture, and note. Okay. So these are the three tables that are going to store data for us in our database. Our trip ID, our place has our trip ID inside of it because our places are children to our tables, right? So one user can have many trips, one trip can have many places. All right, so now all we're going to do is jump into our VS Code here, and we're just in a fresh terminal here, and we're logged into our server, and here's our client. So here we're literally just going to finish off this concept here, I just want to tell it, create a new database, MySQL. None of these databases exist. None of these tables exist. There we go. So now it knows, hey, this is a brand new thing. We're just gonna build the entire thing from scratch. So we're gonna go ahead and dump that in here and hit enter. Create the trip manager, trips, places, users. Okay. Run command. And we have an error. We're gonna copy that error back over here and send it. So when you're using the cheaper models like 4.0 Mini, sometimes it's not able to read from the terminal for some reason. Sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. So for example, here it said task completed successfully, but it was not. So now we're gonna keep going. I pasted in the error and now we're just gonna keep going. All right, create database trip manager, use trip manager, create table trips, create table places, create table users. Okay, and all of these had errors. So I'm just gonna go ahead and copy this whole thing and paste it in here. Okay, so create table trips, run. That looks like it was successful. Run. That also looks successful, and now users. Awesome. I believe this is successful, but now just to double check, we are going to go ahead and log into MySQL. Your password goes there, and we're gonna do show databases. There's all of our databases. Use trip manager. Show tables. Beautiful. So we do have describe places. Okay, place trip, name, link, address, note. Great. Describe trips. Trip ID name. Okay, so we do have a problem. Our UID is an integer, but it should be varchar. Let's also look at describe users. Same deal here. Okay. Modify UID in both tables users and trips so that it is a varchar 255, no auto increment. So basically, Firebase is going to send back this UID. It's not going to be an integer. It's going to be a text. So we want to make sure that it's able to receive that. Alter modify. Let's try it. Oh, problem. Okay, so I was still inside of the MySQL, so I'm going to go ahead and exit. And let me just run this again. And I believe that it worked. And let's run this. That's going to modify our users. Let's once again log in just to verify everything. We're logged in. We're going to show databases. Okay, use trip manager. Show tables. And then describe places, describe trips, UID is varchar, very good. and describe users. Beautiful. So now we're gonna copy all of this, okay? And I'm gonna go back to my notepad, okay, and overwrite this. Okay, so now I have a database table named Trip Manager. Okay, database name. These are the tables inside of Trip Manager. This is what the places looks like. And I'm just doing this so that when we're creating our backend, we can literally just copy this over so that the computer understands exactly what's going on here. Beautiful. So now we have our database name and our tables. Perfect. So database is set up and working. Let's exit this again, and we're going to start a new task. Okay, now that our database is created, what we have to do is create a new folder for our project to run in. So we're going to go into our www, and we're going to do new folder, and we're going to call it Trip Manager. And now, since I'm going to be building in here, I want to specifically only build in that folder. So I'm going to do open folder, var www trip manager, and okay. I'm going to ask you for your password again. But now we're specifically only logged into this folder. So anything that we build is only in this folder. It's not going to affect the entire host, okay? So we're going to open this back up and start a new task. Build a backend using Express and Node.js. It should run on port 6000, reverse proxy API. It needs to be able to create, read, update, and delete from all three of my tables in my database, MySQL. Okay, and all we have to do now is paste in this. We have our database, our user, our password, and the tables, okay? So paste it in there, and let's get it going. And install any requirements here and initialize. We're good. It's creating our index.js. Okay. Beautiful. So here we go. Database. Great. Okay, it's going to start it right away. So our backend is running. So this is what I'm going to do. Ooh. Okay, we have curl commands already came out, but there is no contents in these. So what I want to do actually is create a curl.txt file with curl commands to create fake users, trips and places, and also to retrieve those tables as well. Yeah, this is trash. Okay. Oof. Terrible. This is awful. The curl commands need to follow our table structure. No kidding. Okay, that's better. So first we'll create a fake user with this curl command here. It worked. Awesome. You just have to watch it because trips, places. By the way, let this save. We do want to save this. And now we're going to do the curl to receive. Okay, so now I want to receive all of my users. And we did get our user back. And let's try the trips also. Beautiful. Okay. Beautiful. So now, okay, so quick recap. This is where we're at. Database created. Backend created. Now our next step is going to be to go into Bolt and create the new front end. And let's see how it goes. Once I have that front end done, I'm going to bring it into our server and I'm going to update the Nginx. I'll show you what that is in a second. And then we'll run our project and take a look. Okay, so let's keep it going here. Now we're gonna get to do some fun part here. We're gonna build our front end. Okay. So first things first, I'm here in Bolt, and I delete my conversations all the time because if you work on one project and then you want to change something and you work on another project, you don't want to risk that AI remembered something and all of a sudden it's going to be like damaging to your project. And you're not going to find out, and you're like, why isn't my project working? What's going on? And it remembers some like weird variable naming system or something like that. So delete all of your conversations. That's just my advice. I do the same in Klein. So for example, right now in Klein, I have 2 conversations because I'm only working on this project, right? I don't do that obviously in ChatGPT because then you won't have it like save information about you and stuff like that. Okay, so number 1, we're gonna copy a couple things straight out of our previous prompt, which is this database setup. Okay, and we're gonna do like this is you don't have to do this, and if you want to you can or whatever, but I'm gonna do something like this, and I'm just gonna put database setup below. Okay, and then that way me and the AI both see this. Like you just got to be kind of consistent, right? So if I did whatever 5 of those things, then I'm gonna do 5 of them again, and then I'm gonna put back and setup below, and that's gonna be my index.js file that was built by my Klein in VS Code. Built my backend. Okay, and I used 4.0 Mini for that. So there's my entire backend right there. There's my entire database right there. Last thing that I need to add here from Firebase. I'm just gonna copy over this down here. That way it knows how to access my Firebase. Okay, fantastic. Firebase info, copy that, and then just copy these over because this is like, I'm sure it knows how to, you know, it just knows. So we'll do like a double space, no space, and just a double space here. Try to keep it consistent. None of this matters. You don't have to do it this way. This is how I'm doing it, right? And it works for me. So if you want it to work for you, maybe, you know, do similar things or try your own things that make it even better than the way that I do it, right? So this is AI. This is a new way to do things. This is not just your average, like, follow the rules and, you know, nobody even knows how this works. They say they do, but I mean, they do, but they don't. You know what I mean? Okay, fantastic. Keep it going, and then project. Instructions. Okay, this says below, Firebase info. Should I put below? Should I remove the below? Let's remove the below. It's kind of ugly. Get that below out of here. And I'm gonna put this exact prompt just right in my description so you could copy it. Maybe I'll make like a, I don't know if I could put this much into a description, so I'm assuming that I'll just make like a Google sheet or something like that that you guys can take a look at. So instructions. Create a beautiful, modern, responsive, mobile-friendly front end using React, period. Black and white color scheme, period. 5 pages total. Landing page, trips page, places page, user page, and calendar page, period. On the landing page, there needs to be a way to sign in, and it should sign in with Firebase authentication, sign in with Google account, period. On my trips page, I need a search bar at the top and then a card view of my trips. There needs to be a way to edit and delete trips and also add new trips, period. On the user page, it should show me my user data that is specific to me. My calendar page should show my trips on a calendar view with the option to change between month, week, and day. Keep this project as simple as possible and build me a readme.txt file that tells me how to install this on a Linux server. When I click into a trip, it should go into a trip details page that lists the trip details as well as all of the places inside of that trip. I should be also able to add, edit, and delete places from a specific trip. Just throwing myself a little curveball there. This is not how the project worked when I first showed it to you, right? There was no places, but I want to see how far I can take it in one prompt. Once again, I will copy this prompt over into our, let's do another space there. 1, 2, 1, 2, bash, 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 bash. Cool, 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 cool. Very interesting. Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen here. I wonder what I'm forgetting. And let's hope that this goes well. Brand new instance of Bolt. Yes, this is the paid version of Bolt. That's up to you. You can get the paid version or you could do it for free. I think now that there's even free versions of Bolt that you can run locally. So there's no excuses. No excuses. All right. So here we go. We just pasted this entire gigantic prompt in here. Is this really that big for this AI to understand? No. And this is very satisfying to watch. So let's enjoy the build here. Please continue. Building my landing page there. I did, yeah, immediately I'm thinking about it. I forgot to mention the nav bar at the top and the footer with the socials. So should be a pretty easy to add, to be honest with you. But obviously if that's functionality that you want, I'll make sure to include that in the prompt that I post up. So yeah, don't forget that. All right, let's take a look here. I've implemented this and started with the landing page. These components will be used across all pages. Do you want me to continue? Let's do it. Let's continue. Please. Continue. So yeah, let's go ahead and just jump into our prompt here, and let's update that right away. I need a nav bar at the top of each page and also a footer with social media, period. Placeholder, you see this? What is this? Placeholder 100. Still no preview here. Please show it to me in its current state in the preview. Look at that. Navigation is handled through a responsive bottom bar. I still don't see anything. That moves to the top on desktop. All pages are fully responsive and follow a consistent black and white theme. Preview is blank. Is it running? Because it doesn't look like it's running. I wanted to copy that. Thank you. I see errors. It didn't see the errors. Like, that's kind of weird that it's not reading its own. Project. Oh, here we go. What is this? Control C. It's not allowing me to copy this? Well, that's not fun. Can I copy it like that? There we go. Yeah, so that's kind of weird. It wasn't able to read its own terminal. It didn't realize that there was errors. Kind of weird. Install dependencies is still going. There we go. Preview is blank. Please connect it to my landing page. Once again, preview is blank. Oh, hey, look at that. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Okay, it even does the Firebase pop-up. Let's go ahead and open this up in StackBlitz and take a look. Always when there's Firebase authentication, I've been having issues getting it to work in this preview. But if you open it up in StackBlitz, it'll run it, and it'll get, once you tell Firebase to authenticate that, to authorize that domain to use the setup. Like for some reason, I've been doing it here and it's just not getting to work. So I do it here. It's fairly fast and works with Bolt very well. So once it loads here, it's still installing all the dependencies, I'm sure. This takes a minute here. Once it shows here, there we go. Then I'll pop it up in here, connect it to the project. Okay, so here we go. Connect with Google, continue with Google. And I'm logged in, okay? Search trips. Okay, so we have this very interesting setup here. Calendar, profile, places, and home would be like, okay, interesting. Let's log out. So until I connect it to the database, I'm not sure if it works, okay? So that's the only problem. Let's see, what else are we talking about here? Okay, what else do we have to do? Is this now ready to install in my server and will connect directly to my APIs? Okay, so the logout does work. Continue with Google works. Okay, so this is more of like an application for a phone. Okay, let me see how responsive this is. It moves to the bottom, so it's like a phone app. That's very cool. I like that. New trip button. Okay, so check this out. When we're on this full screen mode, I don't have a way to add trips. So what's the deal with that? I noticed that when I'm on mobile, I have options and buttons. I notice when I'm on mobile, I have options that I don't have when I'm on a full screen setup. For example, adding trips is not possible when I'm not on mobile mode. Let's just take a look and see what it says. So here's some sort of map view. Is there anything that I can add? Search trips. Home does nothing. Home doesn't go anywhere. Here's trips. Here's the calendar, which the calendar also doesn't show on full screen. Look at that. It shows when it's, see, but it didn't follow our instructions about showing the week also, right? So we would like it to do that. And then the user page works. Look at this. Oh, it's a beautiful users page. But once you go into full screen mode, it doesn't work. So, okay, so very good. Let's see what's going on here. Navigation, trips page, layout improvements. Okay, let's close this up again. Okay. Centered home icon, better spacing now, search, trips. I now notice that I have the same problem on the calendar page as well as the user page. When the pages are in mobile responsive mode, meaning that they're small, everything shows. But when I expand them to a full screen display, there is nothing showing on my screen.
About it right now, everything's okay. No matter where you find yourself
All right, fantastic. Let's open it up now.
A reminder to take a little bit better care of yourself.
Okay, so it moved around my icons on top, which makes them look terrible. Or maybe it doesn't. Okay, it kind of wanted to space them out, I see. But still, once again, nothing works. This is really goofy. Okay, so I'm able to do all of this. It does not work. Okay. Still having the same issue. When I'm on full screen mode, I'm not able to see what I should be seeing on any of the pages. Here are some screenshots. Okay. So we got this full page here. We log in and it's just a blank screen. I'm just gonna paste that right in here. And once again, then I'm gonna make it smaller. And now it shows the same thing here. Okay. Fantastic. Let's see what happens here. Otherwise, you know, if not for that, we would pretty much already have a working product. Cover image URL. Create trip cancel. Nice black and white. Calendar view, my trips. You see how there's like not a consistency between views? Like the my trips is located down here and the calendar is up here. It's a little ugly. Home just takes you to my trips, so why have two buttons for that? User and log out, that's awesome. Love it. Great. I like how you can add the trip, that's good. Calendar, I wanted to have also a week view and a day view, so I missed that. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, I won't be able to tell until I load it. If anyone knows how to reload directly in StackBlitz, let me know, because obviously I don't want to keep reloading all the dependencies over and over, but I haven't used this enough to know how to just reload these files from Bolt. So. Alright, there we go. Kind of ugly, but I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. So now that we like it, what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit this download button, and that's gonna download our project. Let's first talk to Bolt a little bit more. This is beautiful. Everything's working great. Can you tell me, is this ready now to download and install on my VPS? Or is there anything else that you need to do to make sure that these pages are completely connected to my backend? Let me know if you need any more information. Always be careful because I like this version. This version works. I don't know what it's doing now, but I want to be careful. So I'm actually going to download this version now, right? Because I know that this version looks decent. I'm going to download it. It made a zip file. I now have this zip file, right? Let's see what it did. I'm going to open it in StackList. I don't know if it's going to give me a second window. It does. Okay. So it creates a new container for me. I feel like the dependencies get faster every time, but like I said, if anybody knows how to just reload this without having to redo everything. I wonder if these are now. They're not. There's a file here that isn't here. Let's see if this still works, because whatever it did here could just be breaking. You know, I told it to be simple. So let's take a look here. By the way, like the rest we can just connect. Okay, here's the new one. Here's the old one. I don't see any differences. Failed to load trips. Okay, so it's got like, it does have error handling. I'm gonna use the old one. And now what we're gonna do is install this on our server and get it to run. So here's our folder. And here we go. This is the contents of our folder. So now the only thing that we have to worry about is this package.json and package.lock.json, okay? Because this already exists here. So what we can do is open this one and let's look at it. So package.json, okay? Package lock. Okay, this thing's huge. So here's what we have to do. I'm just gonna rename these as new so that they're different and I can still upload them. And then we're just gonna have the AI combine them. So before I even upload anything, yes, before I even upload anything, I'm gonna give it, let's go ahead and copy the path here. So let's do a new notepad here, copy this path. Okay, here we go. So now that we have these files here, I'm gonna put them all together using the AI, okay? Copy path. Probably what it's gonna just do is it's just gonna delete the package lock. But let's see what happens here, right? I wanna do this completely with the AI. Okay. So here we go. I have two projects that I want to install on this server. One is the front end, one is the back end. I have the below files that I want you to combine. Do not remove anything, only make sure that they contain everything that they both need. I don't want to tell it not to remove actually. I'm not gonna say anything about do not remove. I'm getting rid of that. And paste the paths in. I have two projects that I want to install on the server. One is the front and one is the back end. I have the files below that I want you to combine. Let's just see what it does first. This involves reading. It's going to read this. I've successfully read. Next, I will read the context of this. Okay, there's more here. Wow, that's a lot. Now it's going to read the lock file and the new lock file. Okay, it updated my packages, my package, JSON. Awesome. This is done. Very good. So we can start a new task, but first let's continue copying over our files here, but we don't have to copy these over, and we could actually junk these. All right, so we'll copy everything except for these two directly into our folder here. This will take a minute. Let's check out this README page here. Install dependencies. So we'll create a new terminal for that. And run our npm install, which is going to look in our package JSON file and download that massive amount of dependencies that Bolt created for us here. Always let these things finish. Okay, very good. It's done. Look at that. Okay, set up SQL database. This is done. Okay, it's all in there already, so we don't have to worry about any of that. Like these README files, I feel like it just like copies them from somewhere. Like they're not ideal. Okay, and then we have to run our backend, right? But something that we have to talk about real quick on top of all of this is Nginx, right? So when we go to questflow.net, what happens is we go to our domain sends it over to our host, and then our host sends it to a process called Nginx. And that process now tells it where to point. Okay, so where are we going? Right now, let's log out and log in to the depths of my server. Okay, so this is looking in the C drive on your computer, for example. So you're just looking in the C drive on your host, right? So here in this etc engine, here we go. Perfect. Sites available, default. So here right now, we have this pointing to this questflow dist. This is the old project that we had running. So if you look in here, www, we have trip questflow dist index. That's where it's pointing right now, right? So now we need to actually build our front end. So let's see, does it say anything about that in here? Here we go, build and start the front end. Let's just do that real quick. I want to go there and, okay, so copy path. Oops. So let's copy our path here. CD. So it's going to change directory, and then we do npm run build. Unexpected token. Let's actually go ahead and let's check this out a little bit here. So we had an error. So now we're going to work with this AI to fix this error. Okay. All right, let's take a look here. Default module.exports. Save it. So it built it, but it just kind of like froze after that. So, but it worked. So, okay, cool. All right. So now what we'll do is copy this. Copy path. I always use Notepad to write these things out just because I don't want to deal. You know, you press the enter button at the wrong time and then everything just goes to hell. So, okay. This is where Nginx should point. When people go to questflow.com, this is where Nginx should point. These are the backend APIs and how it should be set up. Reverse proxy port 6000. Okay, we're getting closer and closer. Okay, I can taste it. I can definitely taste it here. Okay, we got index.js. I'm just gonna copy this entire thing over, and that's gonna be a part of my prompt. Okay. All right. I need your help to modify my Nginx. Remove any existing reverse proxy APIs. Let's take a look at our, by the way, let's take a look in here what this thing looks like. I actually want to save this so I could share it with you. Default is the one that we're interested in. If host is QuestFlow, return 301. HTTPS, you see it sends you to the listen on port 80, redirect all HTTP to HTTPS. Listen 443, certificates, front-end React files located here, reverse proxy for your node running on port 3000, error page. This is awesome. This is great. I'm gonna copy this into my file. Copy the path to this. Remove any existing reverse proxies. When people go to QuestFlow, this is where it should point. These are the backend APIs and how it should be set up. Reverse proxy port 6000. Very nice. Now let's go into our client and see if we could get this done. I hate when it does it in here. I'd like to watch. There we go. Okay, cool. So let's see what it did. It removed this. It is a duplicate, right? So why is that there? If this, and AI wrote that too, so serve your front end React files trip manager, reverse proxy 6000, location API. Here's the thing, right? This location API thing, I like it, but I don't think I have it in the new one. So let's actually just check this out real quick. The difference between the old one and the new one. From what I remember, when it built the backend over there, QuestFlow, server CJS. You see how it has these API slash users? Okay. API slash trips. We need to update the new one. Index.json, index.js. Because this is missing that. So you see how I have places, but I don't have the API in front of it. Should be an easy fix. Let's do the save on that. We are reloaded. So in theory, when I go to QuestFlow now, this should be our new failed to load trips, okay? But it is working. And it actually had my Failed to load trips. Okay, listen, let's fix this here. Now we're gonna go into our backend here. Okay, let's do this once again. Let's jump in here. So we have our Nginx, right? And it has this okay. Trip manager, index.js. Okay. Copy path. Please check if you need to modify my backend so that it works with my Nginx. I believe this is what we need to add to our file. Let's see what it does. Just throwing this out there. I think this will be a nice quick fix, hopefully. It says no modifications are needed. I don't see API mentioned. Okay. It's kind of unusual. So I don't see mentioned anywhere in the Are you sure that doesn't matter? Yeah, okay, there you go. That's what I was looking for. It's a prefix, so it needs to say API. There you go. Perfect. So all it did was add this API thing. That's exactly what we wanted it to do. Save. Okay, and now run my, so I can just do cd trip manager, copy path, and then it's node index.js running on 6000, log out, log in, no trips, new trip, failed to create trip. Let's check our console here. Okay, so now we'll have to save this console here and dump it into my VS Code here. I think they're here actually. Cool, perfect. So this is how we create places. Let's just see if I can retrieve trips. Localhost 6000 trips. Cannot get. Got it. Okay. So now, okay, no problem, perfect. So what we're gonna do now, we have it running, but we get these error codes. Okay, so what we're gonna do is save this as, let's go ahead and open it up, and we are going to copy the entire thing and paste it directly here. And you look into this and make sure my front end is set up correctly. Okay, so this should actually be a reverse proxy. My backend and front end are located on the same server. I want to be able to make sure that anyone from any device is able to access the application. When they go to questflow.net. There we go. Relative path. Beautiful. Save. Okay. Do I need to run npm run build again? Yes, we do have to run npm run build again. So number one, we have to kill what's on port 6000. Let's see if it's still, this says it's running. If I do Control C, okay, it's dead, I guess. That was kind of weird. All right, now it's rebuilding. Okay, it's rebuilt. Now what I'm going to do is node index.js running on 6000. Let's refresh this. Let's close this and do questflow.net fake trip, new trip, I'm taking a long trip. Long trip. Create trip. Failed to create trip. Boo. Save as. I can grab a snip of that. Okay, let's just take this over. Sorry, we're gonna make this last one work a lot, so. Okay. When I attempt to make a new trip, this is what I get.
Think about it right now. Everything's okay. No matter where you find yourself, no matter what kind of stuff is going on in your life.
All right.
Underneath it all,
Ignore the error about the image URL. Here is how the database is set up. Please make sure it's compatible with our front end.
might begin
So I only want to require the trip name, start date, and end date. Image and note should not be required. We're doing some modifications now to the search bar for some reason. That's successful. I don't know. Running here. It's still running. Let's close it here. Let's do change directory to get us to our trip manager folder. Let's do npm run build. Gonna rebuild our front end here. Node index.js. That'll start our backend. We're on 6,000. Let's close everything. Take trip, add new trip. Failed to create trip. F12 gives us our console. So the places works. Let's just really quickly run a curl command on our places, because I think I can just do neither of these worked. Okay, I gotta see this. Is this working? Oh, it needs to refresh the form. Okay, so this is gonna be verified for video. And this is gonna be 9,000 West Montrose. Add place. Okay. 9,000 West Montrose. So our database is connected and working, but I desperately want to make a trip for you guys. We're at 11 cents here, right? If we want some professional help, we can now involve 3.5 Sonnet. Okay? Sometimes it's good to jump in from a different angle. Okay? So now, this is crazy. And our profile page, beautiful. Just a great profile page and responsive. Oh yeah, that's real nice. And wait, yeah, there it is. New trip, fake trip, December 31st. This one's not, no trip is showing here on the calendar, by the way. So it's not as good as the other app that we had. But here we go, here's our fake places. 9,000 West Montrose, 9,000 West Montrose. Okay, so now we're going to bring in Anthropic. Claude Sonnet 3.5. And basically what we're going to do is we're just going to say, hey, when we're making a new trip, we get an error. Failed to create trip, F12, save as, failed, create trip. Copy this over, and let's see what we can get out of this. Okay, let's make a little, I like to make a prompt, right? So, okay. When I try to create a new trip at very nice. I get an error when adding a new trip. So the only one thing that I want to include is when I'm inside my trip, I can easily add when I'm at this page, I can easily add places with no errors, but all right, let's copy this over. Let's run it. It already has some good information here. Let's see what happens, okay? Things are gonna start to get a little bit more expensive on our APIs, but hopefully we're gonna get some better support here. You see how it's trips TSX, API configuration. We're gonna have to check this out because it is deleting a big chunk here. But it did add a big chunk. So let's see what it added here. Okay, transform the data to match the database field names. Wow. And then this, create trip. What's going on down here? I thought I saw something else. Try this. Okay, let's try it. We're gonna have to kill everything and rebuild it again. Is it done? Yeah, run the build, let's do it. You see how it immediately tripled in price. We're at 50 cents now, just because Claude showed up to the party. But we might have a fix here. This is started. Let's go ahead and kill this. Okay. And we'll just do a node index.js. We're running on 6000. We are going to refresh questflow.net. Big trip. Can we add a new trip? I would never start a vacation on the 13th. Where did it get that image from? Where did it get that image from? That's really weird. Where did it get that image from? Oh, but this is not good. I went into trips 2 and it's showing me details for trips 1. Okay, I need a curl command immediately. Let's just run through our curl. There we go. API places, API trips. California. Okay, so there you go. We successfully created a responsive web application that allows user authentication through Google, okay? And it allows the creation of new entries into the database. And there you go. Okay, I hope you enjoyed. If you found value in this video, please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. What would you like to see? What did I do wrong? Just real quick before I run away here, let's take a look at what this looks like on our cell phone. Beautiful. Okay. Can I delete this trip? I don't even have options for that yet. But, okay. Sign out. Okay. Continue with Google. I'm signed in. And I can add a new trip from my phone. Phone, new, phone, verify. Start date, end date, save. Okay, it's created, and then I'll refresh here on this. And there you go, phone verify is in our database. This still has to get fixed. Obviously, there's still a lot that needs to get fixed, but it's a working system. Okay, thanks for watching, and good luck with your project.